Hey guys, today I thought I would make a tier list of the current active duty map pool in CSGO. I think now is actually a pretty good time to make one of these. Anubis has been played by quite a few teams, so we kind of have a little bit of an idea of how it's going to be stacking up in the map pool. I also think that we've had some pretty significant changes recently with the removal of Dust 2, and with Ancient and Vertigo kind of being in the map pool for quite a while now. I think that we can form some very solid opinions on how all the maps are kind of stacking up against each other. Before I start as well, I'm going to try and be as non-biased as possible, but your boy has some pretty strong opinions on some of these maps, so as always, you can form your own opinions down in the comment below. Let me know how you would be ranking all of these maps up against each other. So let's get into it. But before we continue, I'd like to give a shout out to today's sponsor, Market.CSGO. Market.CSGO is one of the largest CSGO marketplaces in the entire world with over 90,000 daily trades. Right now, they are working on a brand new UI design, which we can actually check out by clicking over here. As you can see, the new site is looking very, very nice. So from here, we can just log in through Steam and start checking out the skins. Let's say I wanted to grab this Desert Eagle Code Red. All I gotta do is click on the item, and once we get to the item page, we can see what kind of stickers are on the skins, what the float of the item is, and also the price history for this specific item. But what if I wanted to sell my skins? Well, all I have to do is click on my profile and click on sell items. From here, I can easily select the items from my inventory and also select the price that I want to sell it for. Market.CSGO also make it super easy to deposit and withdraw with a bunch of different payment options available. So if you want to buy and sell skins, check out Market.CSGO using the link in the video description. So Ancient is pretty interesting. We've had the map in the pool for close to 2 years at this point, and honestly, I think that a lot of people neither dislike it nor like it. It's kind of just an in the middle of the map pool kind of map. It is also historically one of the most CT-sided maps we have ever seen in CSGO. And you know, to some extent, I do actually enjoy that part of the map. I think that, you know, it makes every T-side round feel super important, but I do think that Ancient is slightly too CT-sided. But luckily that has changed recently. The spawns have been moved back for CT side, and we've had a chance to kind of see how that has been playing out. I think that the T side has been improved a little bit. It's been made a little bit easier. Pretty easy for teams to get a consistent 6, maybe 7 rounds on the T side at this point. And as for me, I do actually enjoy Ancient as a map. I think that is pretty good to watch as a spectator, and is also not bad to play at all. However, there is still something about Ancient that just feels a little off to me. It doesn't feel completely perfect, and a lot of that is probably because it's decided heavily by the utility usage of both sides. You don't get to see too many crazy opening duels or picks or anything like that, like you would see on Mirage or Inferno, for example. So for that reason, I'm going to be placing Ancient in the not bad tier. Anubis. So next up is the latest addition to the active duty map pool, Anubis, and it has honestly shaped up to be a pretty interesting map so far. This may just be because it is the latest addition to the map pool, but from what I've seen so far, we get all the excitement of the aim duels and the interesting map control from CT side and T side, especially in the water area and B main. There are a bunch of options for both sides to kind of make plays and get some pushes off, make some map control, get some flanks through middle. All this kind of stuff actually makes it pretty exciting to play. And having played it myself in pugs and matchmaking, I can honestly say that it has actually impressed me with how complete the map kind of feels already. It honestly feels like Anubis has been a staple in the CSGO map pool for many years, but you know, it has just been added. I don't know, obviously there's still a bunch of stuff that needs to be figured out about the map, and how the meta changes over time is still up in the air, but yeah, I actually have very positive feelings towards Anubis so far, and I can only hope that it gets better and better over time. It might be surprising, but I'm going to have to give Anubis a rating of not bad. I think that's kind of fair. Yes, the Hopium is absolutely coursing through my veins at this point, but I'm not going to go completely crazy, all right? I'm going to leave it up in the air a little bit, but I think that it's definitely got a heap of potential. Vertigo. Yeah, I really think that Vertigo is easily the worst map in the current active duty CSGO map pool, and I don't really think it's even close. Now hear me out. I actually really advocated for Vertigo when it was first introduced to the map pool. I thought that it was kind of unique, kind of a breath of fresh air with the A ramp control and everything, but everything is just played out with Vertigo. A lot of people say that Mirage is boring. Bro, Vertigo is super boring, and I have a few reasons as to why. First of all, the map is super one-dimensional. 80% of the rounds are going to end on the A site, and every single team just uses the same 2 smokes. I mean, you would think this has to be some kind of sick joke where the entire professional CSGO scene has just single-handedly decided to only use 1 execute for almost 2 years at this point. And you would think there would have to be some variations, but the harsh reality is that there isn't really that much to Vertigo. There isn't a lot of stuff that you can change about the map to make it interesting. Sure, there's a mid area, you can do a couple of different things towards the B site, but, you know, most of the rounds are ending towards that A site, and when every single round just feels like a CT side retake simulation, you know, everyone just gets spam kills through smokes to decide rounds within the first, like, 20 seconds, it really doesn't feel like a fun map to play. It doesn't feel like a fun map to even spectate. Everything feels really RNG, really random about the map, and even the teams that are consistently picking it into their series are not even that consistent on it. Like Vitality and Liquid have been known to pick it a little bit, and it's honestly been not a very consistent map for them. They can lose it to almost anyone. So yeah, honestly, Vertigo is just going in the Valve, please remove tier. Thank you. Well, after just punching down on Vertigo, calling it the worst map in the history of CSGO, okay, I didn't say the history of CSGO, just the current map pool. We head into one of the best maps in the map pool, which is Inferno. Inferno has just proven time and time again that it is such a good map. It produces the best pro games I've ever seen personally, and it has some of the most iconic moments of all time. Whether we're talking about Kenny-esque clutches on the A site, or Stewie 2K late round heroics with the AWP, or even, you know, legendary Astralis utility, executes, awesome timings, incredible plays. Inferno just has it all, and it still delivers after all these years. But why is that? Inferno is just incredibly complete. The thing about Inferno is that both sides have so many options, and every round feels exciting. The banana area has so many different nuances, so many different ways that you can control the area, use different sets of utility. Everything is always interesting, and the push and pull of both sides of the map, whether you're taking brackets control, banana control, how the CTs and T side push between those to kind of outplay each other, it makes the map super nice to play. And the best thing about Inferno, in my opinion, is that if you're a good team, you are almost always going to win. I mean, when we look at teams like FaZe, for example, this is just their bread and butter, man. I mean, they just love to play this map. It's also a fantastic map for both the tactical side and the mechanical side of the game. So both sides get praise in this. The IGL is going to get praise for outreading the opponents, outplaying the opponents, and it really just tests every single aspect of a competitive team. All the fundamentals are just tested on Inferno, and for that reason, I have to put it in the GOAT maps tier. So Mirage is kind of interesting. I think that the main complaint about Mirage over the recent years or so is that people are just finding it very played out. And, you know, I do understand, but I am personally going to make a case for Mirage here, okay? I know that people are definitely going to disagree with me, but hear me out, all right? Mirage is actually one of the most exciting maps in the map pool. So I think that almost everyone can agree that Mirage is actually a good map. Now, there is a difference between a good or a bad map and a map that is played out. I think that Mirage is actually a little bit played out, but I do think it's a very complete map as well. The thing is that with the removal of Dust 2, Mirage is the most individually rewarding map to play. You can put any 5 players in the world, and assuming they're at decently high level, they're going to be able to play this very well as a team. And that is not easy to say about a lot of maps. I think that people clearly love the map, and I personally really enjoy watching Mirage games. You can see players like Simple, Zywoo, Nico, all these guys are going to have incredible rounds on Mirage because it just allows you to have that kind of space as an individual to make sick plays, make sick reads. You can even do a lot strategically on the map as well. And I think that is why I really think that Mirage is a step above Dust 2 in my opinion. I do think that Dust 2 is, you know, probably the most iconic Counter-Strike map of all time. But Mirage feels like a slightly better map than Dust 2 just because you have way more options on T side and CT side to actually do things, actually work as a team to gain map control, gain space on a map, execute onto a site. It tests a lot of fundamentals actually, and I think that a lot of maps don't really do that aside from maybe Inferno. And I think that's something that I thought of personally when kind of evaluating whether Mirage should stay or not in the map pool, is that a good map is going to be overplayed. A bad map is never going to be overplayed because it's a bad map, right? No one's going to actually play a map that's bad. So I think if you look at it from that kind of lens, you can kind of understand why people kind of think that Mirage is maybe a bad map or something. But Mirage is a good map, and I'm going to put it in the very good tier. I know I might get some hate for that, but you know, you can always make your own ranking in the comments, all right? I'm going to put it in very good. Nuke, okay, man, I love Nuke. I think that Nuke is without a doubt one of the most tactically intensive maps in the map pool. With a CT side that is just inherently very strong, the T side would normally struggle to post many rounds, but the amazing thing about Nuke is that you really get rewarded for putting time and effort into developing a super strong T side, and that makes the map super fun to watch and to play. You can play around with the rotations, outmaneuver your opponent, and keep them guessing all the time. And you know, the nerd within me just absolutely adores this map. I think that a good Nuke game offers an incredible amount of value, and it has a great place in the map pool currently, as it is a great map to kind of understand fundamental CT rotations. With rotations being, you know, one of the most important aspects of Nuke, it really showcases a good level of communication and team play if a team is good on Nuke, right? And because of that, a good IGL is just going to be able to power up and really take over games on the T side, because they can kind of outread the opponent, play with the rotations, really keep the enemies guessing on this map. And I think that is also an awesome map because you can still have insane individual plays on this map. I mean, when you think about Nico, Electronic, and also AWPers on this map, it really allows individuals to shine as well. With the AWP being super impactful on this map, if you have an AWPer that understands the rotations really well, they're going to find a lot of flashy kills, a lot of exciting rounds, because they're going to be able to be in the right place at the right time to find multi-kills. And I think that Nuke is just one of the best maps ever created for Counter-Strike. So personally, I have to put it in the GOAT map tier. So the final map to talk about is Overpass. Overpass has always been a bit of a favorite of mine. It has always felt good to play, and I really enjoy how unique it is. Now, it has gone through many changes over the years, and I think that people have kind of grown to kind of like Overpass as opposed to dislike it. I think that it's very safely one of the more favored maps in the map pool currently. Now, with that said, sometimes it can be a little boring, I will admit, especially on the T side. I think that, you know, you spend a lot of time gaining map control, taking bathrooms, taking fountain, taking long, taking short water B. You have to kind of progress onto all these areas on the T side, and it takes time. And for that reason, you know, it can be a little bit boring in the early kind of mid stages of the round. But with that said, because Overpass is such an expansive map, such a big map, it allows for many opportunities for aggressive plays for both the T side and the CT side. And I think that aspect of Overpass keeps it interesting actually in the mid round, because if you didn't have this kind of aspect, I think that Overpass would actually be a lot weaker of a map. But because it's such a big map that allows for these kinds of flanks and rotations to occur, I think that it really ups the standard of the map. Another thing is that Overpass really tests site holds. Like, you have to be incredibly good on CT to withstand the site takes on T side. The B side is actually pretty hard to hold if you don't have a team that is well put together, communicates well, understands the setups that they should be running. And the same with the A side. I mean, A side is historically pretty easy for the T side to take if they know what they're doing. So Overpass really encourages activity on the CT side. And I think that I love that aspect of it. You can really see where teams are kind of pushing and pulling, gathering information all the time to kind of figure out where the T side is going. And I really love that aspect about Overpass. For that reason, I hope it stays in the map pool, and I'm going to put it in the very good tier. So that's the complete list. Let me know what you would change around. I think that there is a decent amount of room for changes. Maybe a couple of the maps could be swapped around depending on your taste, your preferences of the current active duty map pool. But if you enjoy the content, let me know by leaving a like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Peace out.